Ferrari knows that they must act quickly if they want to stay in the fight for the 2025 Formula One championship. Right now, the team is facing major challenges, and unless they solve specific issues with their SF25 car, they risk falling too far behind. The pressure is intense and every race matters, especially with McLaren performing at such a high level. Ferrari understands that they have to bring upgrades not just to improve the car, but to transform it into a machine that can compete for victories again. The Miami Grand Prix is going to be a key moment, and while the major upgrade might not appear there just yet, Ferrari's discovery and plans for future races could be what changes everything. Ferrari's engineering team has been analyzing the weaknesses of the SF25 for some time now. One of the main conclusions is that the car lacks consistent downforce, especially compared to McLaren and Red Bull. This lack of aerodynamic performance makes the car unstable in different situations and across varying gear ranges. It also leads to a lack of grip in high-speed corners and poor balance under braking, both of which affect lap time and driver confidence. Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton have both expressed frustration over how sensitive the car feels, especially when they push it to the limit. In terms of straight-line speed, the SF25 is not the worst on the grid, but when it comes to cornering performance and consistency across a race stint, there are still many problems to solve. Ferrari's plan to catch up involves improving two critical areas of the car, the side pods and the floor. These two components are crucial because they directly affect how air flows around and under the car, which in turn determines how much downforce the car produces. A lack of downforce doesn't just make the car slower in corners, it also makes it unpredictable, which is exactly what the drivers have been complaining about. The upcoming upgrade, expected to be revealed in Imola or possibly Spain, focuses on slimming down the side pods. This change should have been made during the off-season, but Ferrari is trying to make up for lost time. A more efficient side pod design allows better airflow to the rear of the car and can dramatically increase aerodynamic performance. Along with this, the floor of the car, one of the most important parts in a ground effect era, will also be revised. The goal is to reduce the SF25 sensitivity and increase the amount of downforce it can generate without sacrificing balance. Ground effect cars rely heavily on floor design to create suction and keep the car glued to the track. Unfortunately, for Ferrari, their current floor has not been working as expected. It often fails to produce enough load, especially at the rear, leading to a car that is difficult to control during high-speed sections and braking zones. This also affects tire performance, making it harder to manage degradation during races. Fixing the floor is not a small task, but it's absolutely necessary if Ferrari wants to challenge the top teams. Lewis Hamilton has also pointed out the vertical instability of the SF25. In simpler terms, the car bounces too much or doesn't maintain a steady level on the track. This makes it harder to predict how the car will behave during a corner or over a bump. Hamilton mentioned that the car lacks vertical thrust, which means it doesn't produce enough downforce pressing it down into the track. That's a serious problem, especially when trying to compete with teams like McLaren, who have built cars with much more stable and consistent aerodynamic behavior. Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc believes that matching the aerodynamic load of McLaren and Red Bull would help Ferrari close the pace gap. He's right. In Formula One, the difference between winning and losing often comes down to tenths or even hundredths of a second. If Ferrari can find a way to increase their total downforce without compromising balance or tire life, they could finally start to challenge for wins again. And that's exactly what these upgrades are trying to achieve. Even though the upgrades may not appear in Miami due to the limited time for testing during a sprint weekend, the plans are in motion. Ferrari wants more time to evaluate and test their new parts properly. The team doesn't want to bring something half-baked to a race as important as Miami. Instead, they are looking ahead to the Spanish Grand Prix, which will also be a turning point due to new FIA rules regarding flexible wings. These rules could level the playing field and possibly even hurt McLaren, who may be benefiting from a wide operational window that will soon be restricted. Ferrari's engineers know that simulator and wind tunnel tests can only tell them so much, The real test happens on the racetrack, with real-world variables like temperature, wind, tyre wear and traffic. That's why they are being cautious. They want to collect as much data as possible to ensure the upgrades actually work when the car is out on track. This methodical approach is necessary. A rushed upgrade can sometimes make things worse instead of better. The positive news is that not everything is wrong with the SF25. One area where the car has performed well is tyre degradation. According to Leclerc, the car does a good job of managing tyre wear over long runs. This is something Ferrari carried over from previous years, and it gives them a solid foundation to build on. However, this strength has been hidden in the first few races due to aggressive setups and unstable handling. If Ferrari can fix the aerodynamic problems, they can unlock the potential of the car's tyre management and become much more competitive on race day. Another critical point is qualifying performance. In modern F1, starting near the front is extremely important, especially on tracks where overtaking is difficult. Ferrari has struggled in this area because their car doesn't always perform well over a single lap. The inconsistent aerodynamic, load and poor ride quality make it difficult for drivers to extract maximum performance during qualifying sessions. By improving the stability and balance of the car, Ferrari hopes to move up the grid and start races in a stronger position. While all this is happening in Maranello, McLaren has been enjoying an incredibly strong start to the season. They've won 4 of the first 5 races, and their car, the MCL39, looks like a genuine title contender. Lando Norris even took his first victory of the season in Miami last year, which helped turn the team into a regular threat at the front of the grid. But things might be starting to change. In the most recent races, McLaren's advantage seems to have narrowed. Team CEO Zak Brown has admitted that their lead is not as secure as it might appear. In Saudi Arabia, the top 4 teams were within a few seconds of each other. Qualifying was incredibly tight, with McLaren, Red Bull and Mercedes separated by just 1/10 of a second. Brown knows how fast things can change in Formula One, and he's aware that one good upgrade from a rival team could completely shift the balance of power. McLaren has already hit a few bumps in the road. Their much-anticipated diffuser upgrade was tested, but not raced, raising questions about whether their development curve is starting to flatten. While Oscar Piastri continues to impress and has even taken the championship lead, there are signs that McLaren may not have the same level of dominance they hoped for. This gives Ferrari a golden opportunity. If their upgrades deliver as expected, they could catch McLaren at just the right time. The upcoming races at Imola and Spain will be crucial. Red Bull is also planning to introduce major upgrades, and both they and Ferrari see this as their chance to strike. The new FIA rules could shake up the pecking order, and every team is racing against the clock to be ready. Ferrari's engineers are pushing hard to finalize their new package, which includes aerodynamic changes, floor modifications, and even adjustments to the car's weight distribution. The goal is to make the SF25 a more balanced and predictable machine, one that can finally unleash the true potential of its talented drivers. Oscar Piastri's performance in Jeddah proved that McLaren is still strong, but not unbeatable. Lando Norris struggled in qualifying and then lost valuable time during the race while stuck behind Lewis Hamilton. These small problems can snowball quickly, especially when rivals are closing the gap.